Hello, welcome once again to the Dragon Age series with another in our one-to-one character player prequel series. And I seem to have grown an appendage here. It's called Laurie.
Yeah, I'm back, guys.
So, the reason he's on screen, and we don't know that this is going to be indicative for all of our one-to-one character recalls, but we're going to do it with him anyway. We've run one with his character at Dragon Age, which is his warrior. What was your prime reason for wanting to run with a warrior?
Well, after I took a look at the group and noticed that we had 3 current ranged damage dealers, or just ranged in general, and only 1 melee-focused character, and that character was thinking about playing a 2-hander focused warrior, so going in and smacking things over the head with as much damage as possible, I was thinking, hang on, we seem to have a bit of a problem here. There's no tank. You even mentioned it yourself. There's no block. There's no shield wall. There's no meat shield.
So you're going to get...
in all the terminology that you can come up with.
You're going to take it in sword and board and make it a Templar.
Pretty much.
But
pretty much.
It's a female.
Yep.
And do you want to... What's her name?
Amelia Soranus.
So she's a Templar in training. She's warrior class, level 1. The Templars in training were taken up to the hilly areas where it leads onto the Frostback mountains for some survival training. It was basically get up there, staying in a shack just from the mountains, but they go up there for endurance and fitness training in the high altitudes to train their fitness generally, but also to try and work out how to live on the land. And so this challenge was take a bowl up there. You're going to find your breakfast, and it can't be any game or anything you've shot with arrows, and insects are fine. Find the berries, find mushrooms, find whatever you can lay your hands on.
And whatever isn't poisonous,
you bring it back in a basket, and they'll go through it and see if you've picked edible things or poisonous things, and then you actually have to eat it as your lunch. So this is an early morning thing, and you're off scavenging for your lunch essentially. The danger is obviously maybe meeting the hillsmen or such, but the perimeter should be off, and there is no scout signs of hillsmen in the area. It's also not at one of their places. But hey, if you happen to meet one, well, that's all the training too. But you can fall back. There are allies about 10 minutes run away or so, isn't there? So
pretty much.
Yeah. And at this point, you're fit enough to be able to run for 10 minutes.
Oh yeah.
In a row. So yeah, you're up there. Now this is the encounter. It was a one-on-one combat. Now, the idea isn't always, oh, you must kill this. It's a case of, you'll take it on, and we'll see how it ends. We'll see how it ends. Because in real terms, things might end in a weird, unusual way. There doesn't necessarily have to be a victory to one side. Because that wouldn't be very likely to always happen, would it?
So, not really. Hey, it may be a moral victory, but...
so,
that's about it.
There was something quite nasty up there. It was a Hurlock.
Yeah.
Wandering, it was a dark spawn. Now you do get a few dark spawn that come out even at non-blight time, which is it's not technically the blight, it's a slow build up to it. But you do get the odd few attacks anyway, and they get driven up from underground when like some disturbance happens underground or whatever. Now this particular one, he's trying to get back to a cave which heads down into the deep roads and down to the underground section where they all are swarming about. And there's a particular cave nearby. Now, there's a mountain edge, and there's a path that runs along one mountain edge. And then there's kind of a big gaping gap.
Yeah.
Where another path goes across. It's kind of split off, and another path over by the other section of the mountain on the other side, where the two mountainous paths meet. Now, it's not too massively high up. The Hurlocks are more like the burlier, bigger versions. They normally like to favour the big two-handed weapons. If you think of it in normal fantasy terms, it's like the Genlocks. You could say like Genlocks are like goblins, but big ones, kind of dwarf-sized ones, and the Hurlocks are kind of like orcs. Or the other way you could do it is to say, well, if you look at maybe some of the more recent interpretations of the Darkspawn, that the Genlock are like the orcs, and the Hurlock are like the Black Orcs in Warhammer terms.
Especially if you look at Dragon Age 2, the way they have them, it doesn't even match that even then.
But the Genlocks are the smaller ones. They are a bit more sword and board sometimes, and they are kind of dwarf-sized or just a bit smaller in some cases. And of course, the Hurlocks are bigger. Right, so you had a Hurlock to face.
Oh, yeah.
Now, it is a tier 1 foe. We want to see what would happen. So, you did a perception test.
Yep.
I got you to do a perception test. I got the Hurlock to do a perception test. It did its smelling. It smelt you coming in the opposed test.
Yep.
You didn't know it was there. Lucky for you, it's not very good with a short bow.
No.
So, out came its short bow and it got a free shot at you. Now, this plunged into your arm. Now, there are no body charts here, so you don't have to roll for body placements. I'm just being creative.
GM flavour.
It goes in, and you're like looking at it, and you're like, huh?
Like, What's that arrow doing in my shoulder?
That's supposed to have gone in the knee, isn't it? You're not a town guard, are you?
No, but I'm not an adventurer yet either.
No. Snapped it off. That doesn't look right.
No, that doesn't even look like a normal arrow.
I'm sure.
What's going on here?
I'm sure there's an opponent attached to the other end of that somewhere. Where's that? So you have and you see this Hurlock. He went to try and shoot again at you.
Yeah.
What did you do?
I shot at him with a crossbow. That missed.
Yes. See, now you start taking range into account as well. So anything over half the distance is then considered long range, and then you've got minuses on to hit. So that's cool. We're familiar with that with tabletop miniature play.
However, with my crossbow, I was pretty much had a longer range than he did with that short bow.
Yes, and we were using inches to convey the yards anyway, and I had a tape measure out because I knew where everything was placed, and I knew how far away things would be, so I was keeping track of it on the fly. Yeah, you fired back. Neither one of you could do anything. He started running.
Yeah,
you shot at him, and he was running too fast, sideways on like that. So it's not even like he's going away from you. You missed him. It was quite foggy up there as well. Well, misty and rainy. Has been sort of rainy mist sort of thing. So you've got -1 to hit up there because of those conditions, and that's fun to bring modifiers into it. So neither one of you could hit each other.
Not really.
He starts bolting along the line, and you start going to follow him, but he's ahead of you. Did he take another shot at you?
Yeah, he took another shot at one point, but that one you had basically go straight into the canyon because he failed so miserably to hit.
Yes. Okay. So yes, that is the shot. So it's just fallen right short and just gone right down. So yeah, whatever. It could have been funny if you'd heard like a nearby passing goat and it hit him in the horn or something. It would have been a Peter Jackson film then, wouldn't it?
Oh dear.
It's still not the knee. You can still be an adventurer, a goat adventurer. Goat.
For the moment.
I'd just love to see it now. A goat, he gets an arrow in the knee. So he applies to become a guard.
Oh,
they're like, well, you do have the arrow in the knee.
That's good on your resume.
So you are actually already qualified. Mind you, you do only speak goatish. So, I don't know. Enough of this silliness.
You can distract the wolves while we shoot them in the knee ourselves.
Yes, I know where the critical point's going to be in Dragon Age.
Listen, anyone rolls a crit, you're going to hit them in the knee.
I'm going to call it the Achilles knee. Then there were some rocks, so it made a break for the rocks, and you realise, well, I'm not going to be able to shoot it in the cover now.
Yeah.
It's on some hard cover, and it was hiding and moving very crouched down along the rock line, keeping its head out of the shot.
Yeah.
Now, you started to cotton on to the fact that it was trying to draw you in.
Yeah.
To a trap. Now, further on ahead, where these two paths go, there is a section where they narrow and then meet each other momentarily before splitting back off again. And it's at this crossing point that you knew was your way to get at him. You ran along the path, and he was always a bit ahead of you. And he made his way to a cave that was on his side and headed on into the gloom of it. And you went across after him and entered the cave carefully.
Yeah, sword and shield drawn at this point in time.
We did the initiative rolls. He won.
Yeah.
And he burst out of nowhere with a charge, came smashing into you.
Yeah, and smacked me silly.
He had a great big, he had a great big two-hander, like a big two-handed axe sort of thing. And the hit he put on you was incredible. It was really unlucky, actually. 3d6 damage, any dragon die procced.
Exactly.
And it suggested the suggested stunts, because the NPCs have suggested stunts, you see, so they normally list like a couple, and sometimes they have their own one as well.
And one of his favourite stunts was the Mighty Blow, as you said, which is an extra d6 of damage.
So that was a lot of damage.
So overall, I took like 21 points after everything was all said and done, before I negated armor.
Yeah.
I was already down below half health at this point.
Yeah. And that's just from a opening shock attack from the dark. I think it could be that you felt it coming and started to move and exerted yourself. And then the way I see it is that the blade hit. Your armor was good enough to turn it.
Yeah.
The blade turned and you took a lot of more crushing impact.
Yeah, exhaustion rather than actual physical health.
I see the blade turning on you, and it's because it's a great sword and he's muscly. Yeah. I see the rigorous fact of you being pushed so hard.
Yeah.
Then you fought it back. Now, you couldn't really put a lot of damage on it. You got really unlucky, didn't you?
Yeah.
So anyway, this little combat went on between them, and then he realised, well, I'm going to try and test your mettle here, and see if you're willing to follow me back. So he runs deeper into the cave.
Oh, but I did knock him back due to the fact I had the heavy blades training.
Oh,
I knocked him back like 2 yards.
Right, okay, yes, because the heavy blade has that ability that you could start applying whenever
at novice, right?
You broke him away from you a bit, and then he decided to use that to start legging it into the cave, into the dark.
Yeah.
It's kind of a chat, and he screamed like this holler. This awful darkspawn's holler, which made you feel he's called to his friends.
Or something. So
the others are going to
this ain't good.
The others are going to start coming. It was a challenge. Are you going to proceed deeper into the cave after him or not? And you decided no, which is probably the sensible thing.
Yeah, well, if one just did that much to me in the first place, how much am I going to have to deal with a whole horde of them?
On average, this isn't going to happen. They're not going to put that much damage out. He got very unlucky, but it just shows what one of these bloody things is capable of.
Yeah. At top of its game.
If you let it go, if you let it crush you like that. And it was thinking, it was trying to draw you in.
Yeah. Well,
there was something, a beastie type thing in there. And I think his lot are probably having trouble trying to get past it.
And they want to use me as a distraction or
like
something.
a massive spider.
Oh, that would have been perfect.
I think he was trying to maybe feed you to it. And I think it will only want live prey. Like spiders, they capture their food live.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
And I think it was trying to...
Very nice.
As I see it, I think it was trying to draw you into a massive monster in there.
Good dear.
And to, And then that would have got a distraction out of the way, and then the Darkspawn could have come up together. I mean, he could have gone down anyway, and they could come up, but there's a chance this thing will pop out because, I was thinking along the lines of it might be eating them from time. Some of them go missing from time to time.
Yeah.
So we'll take the chance of a stupid adventurer getting eaten, and now we'll give the call, and that's what the call was for. Get ready to come up. We're going to attack.
Or they could have done even something worse to me.
You didn't follow him. You decided, you know what, I'm going to try and get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
But not before trying to deal some damage to the cave itself.
Yeah. I was basically like, can I see anything around me that would make an incident for a cave-in to occur?
Because there's a big beastie thing in there, it goes around on the ceiling, on the walls, and makes the whole place shudder. We're talking massive spider. We're talking one of the really big elite boss
Oh,
ones.
you mean those ones?
Like there'd be a big chute, a hole in the ground of the cave that you could step over.
Like some joint.
And fall.
Oh, you mean like a trapdoor spider?
Yeah, but it's not a trapdoor.
But even worse.
It's just a great big gaping hole.
You fall down, hit a web.
The whole thing's webbed off, and it basically crawls up this chute, or fires a line up the chute and pulls itself up there. Is that creepy enough for you?
I think Pete's going to have that even worse than me.
You don't want to be falling in that when that thing's coming up, do you?
That would be a perfect thing to throw on Pete, that would. Just for the sheer hilarity of how he would react.
Yes.
Now, you know me, I already hate giant spiders in the first place.
Uh-huh.
When it comes to fantasy
You'd have
ones.
to-
And I'm not too keen on real
You'd
life
have to
spiders
change your
either.
fall trajectory, use a half action to draw a weapon quickly, and try and point your blade down at it as you fall.
Or put it in, or plunge it into the wall to try and stop your fall.
Then
or
I'll
some
apply
crap.
massive falling strength damage against it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not very likely you're going to miss, it's just whether you'll hit well.
Yeah, it's just like a straight down.
Yeah, and now, you see, that's the sort of thing. And I'd put you in pressure like this, and I'm going to leave the player to come up with the inventiveness. Do they just want to fall on the giant spider, or are they going to come up with something mid-descent that makes their chances better? And it's up to them to dig themselves out of it with their own combat intelligence and survival.
It's none of this, oh, what would my character do? You can't just rely on what your character would do in every situation. You've got to try and be inventive.
Yeah, well, that is the problem sometimes, isn't it, with your characters? Like, if you know there's a trap around or something, and you definitely know it to be a trap, but your character, you're trying to
Your character may not know it.
whether he'd be wise enough to know to walk to the side of the of the pillars because the front way may be trapped and he doesn't even want to chance it. It might be like these old sort of like mechanical ruins or something, and you might want to go down the sides. But you might not want to suggest it because it might sound out of character. So do you just let yourself...
Well, then the GM might be even more silly. Know that your own character, if you will suggest it, and put the trap on the sides instead.
Yeah, maybe. You managed to avoid all of those possible perils.
Yeah.
You didn't follow deeper into the cave.
No.
You didn't take an arrow to the knee.
Nope. But I did take a second arrow to the shoulder whilst I was trying to smash the cave ceiling down.
Yes, as you turned and you decided you were going to try and hit it with your greatsword.
Yeah.
The rocks above the entrance... were relatively difficult to bring down. I think they were something like a target number 15.
To begin with, yeah.
To begin with. And once he'd given them a good old hit, but failed, you can't really miss something you can hit that's stationary. That's ridiculous. I'm not really going to have you roll to freaking hit something like that.
No.
I'm just going to give you the target number.
And see how much, and see if it calculates enough to be able to break it.
See if it's enough strength to hit it, yes. So, yeah, you struck it, and then because it loosened it a bit, it's gone from a 15 down to a 13.
Mm.
And then when you strike it again, it goes from 13 to 11.
Yeah.
So you managed to bring it down in a couple of strikes or so, wasn't it?
Pretty much.
Two or three. I think it was maybe 3.
And this was after the Hurlock decided to charge me again.
Yes, well, you got a couple of strikes in, and on your second one, it shot an arrow at you from the dark.
Yeah.
And this arrow came whizzing at you and struck the same shoulder just below where the other arrow shaft was, and you're like, bloody goddamn it!
Is there a target here?
Of course, your armor's doing great.
Yeah, it actually, the fact is, I didn't take any damage because my target number to be hit, my defense or armor class for all you Dungeons and Dragons fans, was high enough for the arrow to not actually wound me.
Yes, an armor, in this, for you D&D guys, is actually comes off of the wounds caused then.
Yeah.
So if you've got like 5 armor and you've just had 7 wounds, you're only going to take 2 wounds. But anyway.
It was before I got my first strike in, the Darkspawn Hurlock decided to charge me again.
That's right.
And did some more damage to me, and just luckily, my armor managed to hold up.
You decided not to turn and engage yet, but to carry on with your task of trying to create this cave-in. It worked. Your cave-in came off. The rocks all started coming down. You had to do an acrobatics dexterity to get the hell through that opening fast. You dived. He managed to escape it as well. Maybe a rock fell on his foot and he was like, ouchie, 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 in Darkspawnish.
But he went the other way.
He was trapped inside the cave. It all fell down and you were outside the cave trapping him in. So you decided, right, I'm not going to hang around here. He's going to be trying to clear it from the inside, I guess. Although he's trapped in with a great big beastie thing as well.
That might be another reason why he might be trying to clear it out.
He
So he
doesn't
can get
want to
out
be trapped.
from it.
He doesn't want to be trapped there.
If it is there, it's a good thing I'm not in there too.
This thing would be so powerful that even if you took a massive boulder and put it over the hole, that thing would lift it off. I might have you lot go back there and try and hunt it one day.
Yeah, maybe.
That would be fun, wouldn't it?
Maybe that'd be a great mentioning for my character to say, oh, I've been here before.
Exactly.
Well, I haven't been that far in, but I've been here.
That, right there, is the power of these one-to-ones. You could really create something that could then pay off in the party, even. I don't know. Depends if the modules take the levels up enough, because you're always worrying about level capping.
Whoops.
Level capping for the tier.
Yeah, that, and if my character actually survives to be able to come back as well.
Yeah, survival in Dragon Age. I'm a little concerned about the guys being able to actually survive these things. We'll have to see, won't we?
Well, I may have more survivability because of heavy armour, but still not going to be enough to save me in the end.
No, I think that negates, because you can't control how you get healed.
Exactly.
You can't have a heal spell. And really, it's about, because you're a frontline fighter,
I have to take a 5-minute break to try and bring
you're going to
back.
be engaging enemies before many of the ranged ones will, just by the nature of the fact that you'll always be standing closer to them, because you're trying to get to them.
Yeah, I'm trying to get hit.
She ran back
Yep.
to the camp and told them what had happened, and I guess they sent someone up to explore it and note it off. Possible Darkspawn exit.
Yeah.
But the Darkspawn are the least of your problems at that cave. And they don't know about the great big beastie in there.
Yeah.
They have no clue. That was your little experience. You've got a little bit of history now behind her.
Yep.
And you've not even played a game yet.
Nope.
You've got a bit of a sense of her travels. You know, you could even play more of them and it'd give you a feeling. As a little reward, I'm going to give you a minor health pot.
Nothing too major.
to go in with. A lesser one, I think they call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you enjoy running that 1-to-1?
Oh yeah, that was a rather interesting outcome.
Does it give you like a lot of respect for the Darkspawn, how dangerous they can be?
Well, let's put it this
For
way.
the world itself.
Well, the world is very dangerous, but if you're playing Dragon Age Origins or Dragon Age 2, you're going to take a look at the game and see, oh, I can beat everything with just hitting it. But that's not always the case, especially when you've got BioWare creating that game. There are other ways around it.
But the beauty of the RPG is you've always got that other way if your GMs are be fluid enough to allow it.
Yep.
Right, well, we'll leave it there, folks. Thanks for tuning in to another one of our recap series, and I'll see you at the next video. And as always, see you at the table.